Have you ever felt lost, confused, or indecisive, and then suddenly a feather just appeared in your path and instantly you just knew the answer to all of your questions? Or maybe friends and family keep buying you animal themed things and you're wondering, why do I have like 10 pairs of frog knickers or owl cushions? And you want to understand, why is this animal turned up in my life? Or perhaps an animal has appeared to you in a dream and you're wondering, what does this symbolize? What does this mean? How can this help me with my current challenge or obstacle? This is why I have created the YouTube series Animal with myself and guests. It's going to offer you insight into what is the magic, the myth, the medicine of the animal kingdom. What does it mean to have a spirit guide that is a particular animal, and how can they support you in your life's journey, in your healing, and in your connection to self? So whether you are seeking an animal guide, or you want to understand yours better, or maybe even yourself better, or perhaps you're just curious about the symbology, the mythology, the wisdom, medicine, and magic of animals, then this is the perfect series of interviews for you. An easy and accessible way to understand the relevance of animal spirit guides to you, along with practical tips and tools for integrating the wisdom of animals into your everyday life and into your spiritual practice. Now let us fly, gallop, and dive into this episode and the support and inspiration that will empower you. Hello, my loves, and welcome to this episode of Animal. So this episode is a solo cast, so it's just with me. I will be interviewing myself, and in this episode I will be sharing about the wisdom of owls. Owls have a very special place in my journey and in my work, so I'm going to be sharing about their wisdom, their magic, and their myth. For those of you that are new to me, or just a reminder to all of my wonderful students, I'm Rachel Roberts, and I am the creatrix, founder and principal teacher of Wolf Woman Rising Wisdom School, which is my school that supports you in discovering and embodying truth, trust, authenticity, and courage. I'm also the best-selling author of several books, including Lupa, Wolf, Pantheon of the Romans, and Flora. And these books I created to bridge the gap between ancient symbology and mythology and modern well-being, history, and also mindfulness and holistic health. So that's me. And like I said, I want to share with you in this episode all about owls. So we're going to explore the wisdom of owls. I'm going to share some deities that owls are connected to, some activities that you can do to connect to them, so you can discover really why owl would be a great ally for you. Or if you have owl as your guide, perhaps this is going to offer you some deeper understanding around why owl has shown up in your life. So for me, owl has been with me throughout my whole life, even before I consciously began to connect with owl as a spirit guide. So in the introduction, I mentioned about how family members can buy you things that are connected around animals, and you end up with like so many different things, and you're thinking, wow, obviously this is a sign. Owl was like that for me. So I started to notice owl was coming into my life, but also people were picking up on that, obviously, because owl is a thing which I have hundreds of things connected to owls, like owl everything that people just started giving me. And people do, they just kind of look at me and think, oh, they must pick up on the energy of owl. I also have a vivid memory, a cute story this, of me when I was 6 or 7 in a school play. And at Christmas, they kind of make you perform and you all dress up and do your little thing for your parents, singing a really cringy song. Well, in one of the plays, we had like a woodland scene. All the characters were woodland characters for some reason. I can't remember what it was about. I'm sure there's a great embarrassing video somewhere. But we had to choose our animal, and I have a really, again, cute picture, which I'm not sharing, too cute, of me as an owl, because owl was the animal that I chose to dress up as. I had these proper like cardboard wings and everything. But I was so proud to be owl, and I really connected to owl, and it just felt really, really right. And I was at the age where I couldn't tell you why owl, but even at that 6 or 7, I just knew that owl was an ally for me, that an energy that I just adored. That relationship has been affirmed throughout, my life, as I've grown, as I've developed, as I've become a teacher, through the relationship that I have with my patron deity. And I'm going to share more about her. Probably some of you know already who we're going to get into, but I'm going to share more about my story with her later on. So let's start off with the wisdom of owl. So what is the magic of owl, and why would you want to connect to owl as a spirit guide or an ally or as an example? What can they inspire in you? Well, owls are very much known for their great eyesight, and this is one of their principal lessons and probably their highest wisdom that they bring forth. So they are associated with being able to see in the dark, although many owls, aren't actually nocturnal, though we associate them with the nighttime and the dark. They have a great ability to see in the daytime and in the nighttime. So if you see them, you might notice that they are awake during the daytime. You might be surprised by that, but they are actually not all completely just nocturnal. This eyesight can see for miles. It helps them when they're hunting. They can also do that really cool, almost 360-degree head turning. And this can teach us and inspire us about vision in a few different ways. So it can teach us about perspective. This turning of the head is about seeing all that is around us. And seeing in the dark is about seeing beyond, not just what's in front of us, but going deeper, going further. And in many, myths, legends, and also different cultures, they have this association with the nighttime, with the darkness. Like in ancient Egypt, they associate with the night, with the cold, and also with death as well. They have this intimate connection with being able to see into the other realms, to see beyond, whether that means within us, or whether that means literally, so just seeing night vision. You don't need to eat your carrots if you're working with owl, because they're going to help you see clearer and better, but metaphorically as well. This can help us to understand things deeper, so not just what is the surface level, but what is going on underneath. So this can help us to explore our own emotions, perhaps. So if you have a decision to make, or you don't quite understand something, maybe about yourself, a situation, owl is a really good ally to call on to help you to gain deeper understanding or a different perspective, perhaps looking at something from a completely different angle, perhaps one you couldn't understand before, or you hadn't even considered. And I think this is a really powerful ally that is needed right now as well, when we're becoming I feel becoming more isolated. We're losing our community, and we're being faced in the world, aren't we, by a lot of discrimination. And I think that being able to see another perspective, looking from a different point of view, is really a superpower, and it's something that we need to embrace and consider more. So getting outside of our little boxes, and considering what is it like for other people, or perhaps considering other people's points of view. Sometimes we can be very much on our own train tracks, to the point that we just keep going and we don't consider that there may be other possibilities. So they can help you and support you in that. So they may appear kind of, if you have something that you need to discover, that you need to understand deeper. I know for me, the owl came forth as a spirit guide when I was kind of awakening what I would call my psychic abilities, but just becoming aware of something that was different or other than what I had been taught at the time. So in my mid-teens, I started seeing ghosts. I started exploring the fact that it was more than just one god that had a beard that lived on a cloud. And I was becoming aware of myself and my body, my power, my abilities. And I don't think that's a coincidence that owl turned up to me at this time and that people kept buying me owl things. I think there was definitely this correlation that happened here. So they can be an ally that turns up when your psychic abilities are being heightened, are being awakened. So you may find they turn up during that time. If they're a lifelong ally for you, that's been there all the time in your awareness, so it's very likely that you are here to be a conduit, you know, between either the other world and this world, or maybe as a teacher, maybe as a researcher, someone that's sharing knowledge. So owl also comes forward for me, you know, when I'm writing my books and very present, you know, obviously, of course, as well as wolf, because you all know about my journey with wolf, and there's a video all about wolf and my books, of course. But particularly when I'm studying and when I'm researching and pulling information together, I think about this eyesight of owl. So when I'm reading something, so I go through the ancient Roman texts and I'm trying to bring them forth, you know, for my books so they can make sense to you. So it's not some old bloke 2000 years ago rabbiting on. It's making sense. It's applicable to your life. So I think about the vision of the owl. I'll be reading something and I think, what is deep in this? What is beyond these words, or what do these words, what is the kind of highest wisdom? What are the deepest roots of this that I can bring forth when I'm sharing this in my voice? And owl is very much present for that particular activity. So if owl, you know, is any of this is resonating for you, and, you know, or if owl is a lifelong ally, or perhaps it's just turned up once or twice, whether you've seen them and felt chills, you've heard them, that image comes up, or somebody keeps buying you owl cards, you don't know why, it's very likely that your role or your magic is going to be around the term revealer. So often I say that, you know, your sacred purpose, your soul purpose is to be the revealer, if owl is special for you, to reveal things, to look through the darkness, to also be that bridge between the dark and the light. So owl is a great ally. Just to sum all of that up, if you perhaps have been mistrusting your own intuition, your own instinct, and you want to be able to hear yourself better, to trust yourself, to discern also what is your wisdom. Perhaps looking out at other wisdom, contemplating and learning about other wisdoms, but in the end coming back to yours and what is your truth, and learning to trust that. They're great with perspective. So opening perspective, helping you to consider it, to widening your viewpoint and looking for other places. Also healing any parts of you that are blocked, you know, in terms of learning and acquiring, attaining knowledge. So this may be something as simple as writer's block. You don't know how to progress forward. If you're a creative, perhaps you're struggling to come up with ideas, or you want inspiration, and they're going to help you. And also owl is going to help you, like I said, just in deepening your understanding, perhaps even leading you to the experiences that you need to gain that deeper understanding. So the motto, the tagline for owl is, what is deeper than what I see before me? What is beyond what I can just see with my eyes? I said they're going to help you with all of that. So moving on slightly to some deities that are connected to owl, and I mention these because there are many deities and spirits, you know, higher beings ancient beings, perhaps if you just consider the goddess to be our ancestors, but there are some that are connected to owl in particular. So this may be that they have owl in their symbology or in their mythology. This may be that they themselves can turn into an owl. Maybe they're just depicted with the owl, or maybe it's just a known association that comes along with them. I'm just going to mention a few that you may want to look into a little bit more. Each one is going to have like a unique kind of lesson that particularly correlates to owl. So when you are working with owl, these may be a progression that you may develop a relationship with a particular deity because of owl. If owl's turning up, it may be a sign that one of these deities is trying to contact you, but you also may work with owl completely separately. It might have no deity connection. So I'm just offering this as kind of like, just to consider if one of these resonates or the word like jumps out for you. Then please do go research that and look into these in a little bit more depth. So the first one is Lilith. So Lilith is the first wife of Adam, the first man. So these are from ancient Jewish folklore, and Lilith had this ability to shapeshift into several animals, and owl was one of them. And she has depictions of herself with owl, owl feet and sometimes owl wings. In later kind of associations, this has led to her being associated with the devil, with evil, but it's really about this wild aspect, this wild bird, and she helps us to connect to our wild self, the untamed self. So this is the owl that is quite independent and quite fierce. We also have Athena. So one of her symbols is the owl, and that's connecting to higher wisdom. And she's very much about tactics, about logic, about how to, she was about warfare, but about warfare as in the way, how do you plan? How do you structure? How do you prepare yourself? So you may want to connect to her. Another is Blodeuwedd. So in my Welsh mythology and ancestors, we have Blodeuwedd, and she is transformed into the owl. And this is actually done as punishment for her independence. I call it independence, and her rebelliousness. So she's rebelling against what was decided for her, what was chosen for her, and she chooses something for herself, and it's actually her punishment. But this form gives her flight, gives her freedom, and she's able to fly away. And so I kind of almost see it as a liberation. So if you feel like you've been confined and you want to open your mind to possibility, to potential, to create probability, then she may be a great ally for you. And another one, which is probably the most special for me, is Minerva. So Minerva is my patron deity, and she has been a deep connection for me since I was young. So when I started working with owl, it's very much at the same time that I started to discover the goddess. So in my local city, Chester, we have a shrine to Minerva, and it is the only in situ shrine of Minerva that still exists in the exact same place in Northern Europe. So it's been there since the Roman times. She's a Roman goddess, and I remember learning about her and discovering her in my local town, her kind of coming to me and me thinking, wow, there's a female aspect of the divine. I'd never considered that beforehand. So she opened my eyes to the possibility that the feminine could be sacred, could be divine, could be special. Beforehand, I'd grown up learning, that woman was naughty, was evil, was the sinner, had to be nunly good to have any value. And she taught me different. And so I'm forever grateful to her. And I'm going to go into her in a little bit more depth because she's the way that owl has come forth to me. So that's the way that I understand owl the most. So let's look at a few aspects of her. So the owl is often connected not just to the goddess, but to witches. And witches have this connection to the crone aspect. Obviously, they connect to all aspects of women and of men, all genders, but in particular, they connect to the crone or the sage. So in some cultures, when an owl was heard or seen out in the woodland at night, it was thought that was the soul or the transmuted, kind of body of a witch. But Minerva is connected to the crone aspect. And interestingly, in ancient Latin, the word for owl is actually the same word for wise woman. And she embodies the aspect of wise woman. So we have two triads, and these are the primary triads, which is a trinity of three deities that are the most important deities in the ancient Roman pantheon. The original triad that we have that comes to us from the Etruscans is three goddesses. So we have Minerva in that one that is embodying the crone, the wise woman. We also have Juno, who's embodying the mother, Juventus, who's embodying the maiden. So in that aspect, she is wisdom itself. That continues as that triad develops into the Capitoline triad, which is Jupiter, benevolence, devotion, Juno, and wisdom, Minerva. And so her wisdom kind of has two elements. It's about this crone element, which is kind of that grandmother energy. It's the wisdom of the ancestors, of the divine, that we can receive and that we can embody. So often she was shown, with this owl with her, it's on her shoulder. So it's up near her head. My statue I actually have of her on my altar is of her holding the owl up, and the owl's wings are open and in flight. So in her Etruscan origins as Menvra, the goddess Menvra, she was the goddess of lightning, and she was the light created by lightning, the illumination that came with it. And this is how she became associated with wisdom, this illumination that comes, this spark, this moment. So she also has a spear, this penetration that comes. When you have a sudden thought or a revelation, it's like that. It's quick. It comes. We may come slowly to it, but then it's there. It's revealed like a light being switched on. And that is her wisdom, the revelation. So remember what I said before about those connected to owls are the revealers. So if you are a revealer, you may want to work with Minerva in her owl aspect. So she really is the goddess of the trade guilds, of craftsmen, of writers, of poetry. So her statues were in, the libraries where ancient Romans would go to write and accumulate knowledge. So if you're interested in books, in writing, in art, in creating, so she was there with, the silversmiths and the potters and all those that were, creating. So even if you're like a knitter or something like that, then she is a great goddess, is going to help you, supporting you in learning. Learning as well if you're undergoing a time of study, whether that be as a student, whether that be as a lifelong learner, or you want to learn something in particular. So even if you're thinking like, I want to learn more about my financial situation, or I want to learn how to do massage, I want to learn how to do something in the garden, like learn how to prune an apple tree, then she's a great ally. Maybe it's in her owl aspect that you can come forth. You can ask her to come forth as the owl and support you in that, and ask her to be with you as you're learning. Also, she reminds us with her spear and with the owl in flight of the owl as the hunter who has this vision, that sees exactly where they want to go. She's going to help you with direction. And she's also going to help you to embody your purpose, presence in your purpose as well. So getting clear on what it is that you're going after. Where are you going and how are you going to get there? So think about the owl at nighttime in flight, maybe closing your eyes and just imagining the owl Sorry, we'll keep slipping out. It happens all the time. Imagining the owl up there on the branch, it spots the mouse. Perhaps you can see that in your vision with your eyes closed. And they know exactly where that mouse is, down on the ground, really far away, and they know exactly how to get there. They know the speed. They raise their arms and they go down there. They go down and they have this direction. They have this discernment. How do I get there? How do I do this? What do I need to do? What do I need to be? Is it worth going after this prey? Is it worth hunting after this thing? All of these questions that you may have, perhaps around your own destiny, or perhaps it's something you're trying to achieve. Maybe you have a goal or an objective that she could help you with as the hunter to get there. She is really about this planning, about trusting your own abilities as well. So Minerva as the owl was actually one of the guys that helped me to stop being scared of the dark. And I, as a young child into my teenage years, I was really petrified of the dark, having to sleep with the full bright light on. Sometimes couldn't even sleep on my own. I had this fear of the darkness. It had been taught to me that the darkness was dangerous. She helped me to understand that it wasn't the darkness that I feared itself. She revealed deeper than that. It was the potential of what was in the darkness, and also my own vulnerability, the thought that I did not have the ability to cope with whatever I may face. And through her, I was able to look in the mirror and see my own vulnerability, and also my lack of self-trust. And so she helped me to remember my own power. So if you've ever felt kind of weak or insignificant, doubting your own strength, doubting your own bravery or courage or power, Minerva as owl can really support you with that, to remind you that you can trust yourself, that you're way more capable than you could ever decide or conclude. And often we conclude the smallest amount, I'm only this good. And we stop ourselves from opening to more, to deeper potentiality of self. So like me, if you have any fears, or mistrust of your capability, she'll remind you of your power and also help you to trust life and to trust the divine. She will help you to remember that she is there. So even if you're dark walking, in the metaphorical forest, in the dark, that tweet-twoo that you may hear is a reminder that there's somebody there, there's somebody with you. If you want to explore more about Minerva, then I'm currently writing my book on her. Bit of a spoiler that, unless you're watching this and it's already out. But Minerva is the next book, so keep tuned for more about her. Celebratory dance. Okay, so how about some activities to connect with owls? So if any of this has inspired you or intrigued you, or you want to just deepen your connection to owl, maybe invite them in, then here's some ideas, for connecting to owl a little bit deeper if you want to. So one thing I love to do is meditation with owls. So meditation in the way that it's still, it's silent. So perhaps no music. If you do want to have sounds in the background, maybe put on a YouTube video of owl sounds or something. But owl is about full presence, about coming inward, seeing deeper. So you want to meditate in stillness and silence with the owl. So maybe other animals, like, I said we are meditating with wolf. I invite people to move their bodies, to be active, perhaps more do a dance meditation, a walking meditation, perhaps, things like snake or deer. But owl, you want to be still, you want to be silent, and it's very important that you close your eyes. We can do this really quickly now, so I invite you to close your eyes. You're going to take a deep breath in. And the reason we're closing our eyes as we breathe in and out deeply is to open our awareness to everything that is around us. Bring full presence into your body, become aware of the shape of you, of your edges, the way that you feel, perhaps aware of your heart, your chest, your hips, your feet, your nose, your ears. And also perhaps bring your awareness to sound around you, your breath, the sounds of the room, perhaps the traffic outside, or you can hear the pipes of the heating, water running somewhere. What can you smell? Maybe something's cooking. Maybe you can smell your own perfume. Maybe you can smell the earth. And then take your hands and use your hands to maybe just bring them to your body. How does it feel? Feel the warmth, maybe the ground beneath you, maybe the cushion by the side of you. How does it feel? And bringing yourself fully present. This is the meditation of OWL. In your body, feeling the strength, the power of your body, and having full awareness around you. And then open your eyes, and you're going to bring this presence into your everyday life. So you may want to do this in the morning before you start your day, and take this observation out into your everyday life. So noticing everything, noticing the colors, noticing the smells, notice the way the light touches, the leaves, seeing beyond just, I'm going to my car, I'm walking past this, I'm going there. Maybe taking it a little bit slower. When you look at somebody, not just looking past them, but seeing their behavior, their body language, perhaps seeing the beautiful color of their eyes, If you start staring into their eyes for, more than 5 minutes, then maybe kind of start breathing again. But just noticing, all that is around you, noticing the aliveness of everything. Think of OWL and thinking of it as a perception, really experiencing life, not just running through it, not just living life from your mind, but as a full body experience. So you may want to try that and let me know how you get on if you do that. Let me just check what was my next one. Okay, so connecting to your third eye is a really good way to also connect to OWL. So this is our seat of our intuition, our instinct. It's about activating and accessing higher wisdom. So you may want to explore the third eye. So here at the front, here at the back. What does it mean? Maybe look it up. And then some really good tools for connecting to it. Tea, Tulsi tea is really good for connecting to it. The color indigo, you may want to wear that. You may want to maybe draw an owl that, in that color. Essential oils, you may want to anoint your third eye, perhaps when you meditate with owl, lavender or peppermint. Foods that connect to or awaken the third eye, cacao, cabbage, blueberries, anything indigo coloured. And just a note that both caffeine and sugar close down and deactivate the third eye. So if you're struggling to connect your intuition, your instinct, your inner knowledge, your higher knowledge, if you're having a lot of coffee or lots and lots of chocolate, then that could be actually what's blocking you. That high that they kind of give you, it's an artificial high that's, coming and pumping up the adrenaline, draining your adrenals, and it actually is closing down this. It's giving you like an artificial high rather than coming into our natural kind of connection to the divine. So you may want to connect to your third eye. Another really good way is through art. Art is or any kind of craft is a really good way of activating the third eye. Another thing you can do with that full presence I was talking about is having a night walk. So going out at night time in the forest, the woodland or the meadow, please do. When it's safe, you may want to take somebody with you. I don't want to hear from you in 10 years because you got lost down some random path. Okay, so do it safely. But just go out, even just in your garden, if that feels safer for you. Dawn, dusk, or during the night, and listen for that owl, listen for the twit twoo or the screech or whichever owl it is that's in your area. If you're living in the city, you might have to go out into the countryside, find out your local kind of maybe nature reserve, or the Woodland Trust, RSPB. They will have even National Trust will have walks that you can go out that are guided to help you connect to and listen to it and have that awareness, that opening of perception that comes in the dark. Just get used to the dark, be in it, explore it. Oh, and also last one is just to don't have to do this, you can just be okay. It's owl in general, but you may want to identify your owl. There are hundreds of species of owls all over the world. You may have a native owl to you in your country or your area. You may have one that was particularly connected to your ancestors. If you've had an owl that's come forward, note its color, its size, the sound it made. It might help you to identify it. And I say help you to identify it because they can have slightly different messages or meanings behind them. Certain owls are going to connect perhaps to certain deities, certain cultures, and they're giving you even further insight by the way that they are presenting themselves. So I'm going to put up here here's just a few that that you can look at. So you've got tawny, you've got barn owl, these are really well-known ones, eagle owl, speckled owl. There's lots of different kinds from all over, and you may just want to look them up. You may also want to research the different goddesses that I mentioned, or maybe more like Ananth or Saraswati. There's others that, forgive my pronunciations, that you may want to just connect to, and just learn more about them, learn what they symbolize, where they come from. If you want to experience a meditation with owl to maybe deepen your connection to owl, or if you want to discover an owl guide, call on in, then I have a guided journey that you can experience on my membership. So you can go into that and you can experience that, a guided journey by me, an audio journey where you can relax and surrender into a journey with owl. There's also an invocation there as well that you can use in your ritual, your ceremony, or on your altar space. I also talk about the connection between owl and wolf as well, because it is a wolf ally, which I talk about more in my book. So I hope this has been supportive and inspiring for you. If you have any questions at all, please do pop them down in the comments down below, or alternatively you can DM me. So in the membership platform, do go over there, or on social media. If you want to share in a private way, you can come into my Facebook community and share with the community there, any experiences you have with owls. I love pictures. If you also have hundreds of thousands of owl things in your house, or a special owl ornament or something, please do share it with me. I would love to see. And you can let me know your biggest takeaway, anything that's really inspired or been an aha moment for you. So this video is part of an interview series that I'm doing called Animal, which is exploring animal guides, their myth, their magic, and their medicine. And there are many, many others. So I share about wolves and lions and pigs. And there's also other guests that I bring in, some experts that are talking about many other animals. So do check out this playlist and all those other videos as well. I look forward to connecting more with you. And may owl support you in your vision, in your quest and your journey for self, for your truth, for trust, courage, and authenticity. Sending you so much love and many blessings. Woo!